What's up, people? So we're back with another one. I hope you all have been staying safe and staying free and having a good start to the week and enjoying that content. Now, this banger of a video that I'm bringing to you all today is all about a lifer who had attacked a prison screw in Monster Mansion's HMP Wakefield. So let's get into it. So earlier on this week, some may have heard, some may not. A lifer had attacked a prison screw with a homemade razor blade and left the prison officer with half of his face hanging off and was required to get 30 plus more stitches and left with life-changing injuries. Now, they have disclosed and said that this woman lifer was known to the prison for attacking screws with homemade, razor blades. So they definitely took an L on this one, though. Now, it doesn't say that she's been charged with GBH or attempted murder. They've not disclosed any of that yet, but we would find out in time to come what the story on that, what happens with her. Now, HMP Wakefield, for those that don't know, that is known and called to members of the public too, is Monster Mansions, as you've got the likes of Lucy Letby, who had, killed a load of innocent little babies as a nurse, and then you've got a load of different people in there that have done stuff to kids, to their own children, and from the worst possible imaginable crimes you can think of. And HMP Wakefield Monster Mansion is the new Holloway. And if you have ever heard about HMP Holloway, was an all-women's prison, and it was one of the most violent, dangerous prisons for women. But that has been shut down since 2016, and this is where all of the most violent women you can think of that even touch the papers and don't touch the papers are being sent to. Now, with this being said, these attacks with prisoners attacking prison screws, it's not an everyday thing, but it does happen frequently for many of reasons. And if you ask me, a male prison officer shouldn't be working with females, prisoners. That's just in my opinion. It should be females working with the females. But it's just like in any other prison as well. For males, you get females working on the wing, which they shouldn't, because males are naturally, able to overpower women and this and that and the third. But anyway, so with HMP Wakefield, they are now under scrutiny, as they have touched the newspapers as well on top of it, for people with mental health issues that are not being seen to correctly, and they're just being sort of forgotten about. Now, HMP Wakefield Monster Mansion is definitely a place to where shit goes down on a daily basis, just like HMP Hellmarsh, Belmarsh. As like I said, you've got all of the females across the United Kingdom that commit these vile, sick crimes, and they're all being sent there. Now, they're not saying to what the reason behind this attack was, if she had her reason or if not. And even if they give her an attempted murder charge, she's on a life sentence anyway, which I highly doubt is going to make much difference to this woman serving her time, apart from maybe her release date. So with this being said, HMP Wakefield as well is a prison that the conditions is not the best, as people have said and coming out to speak on. Just like the majority of prisons in the United Kingdom were built in the 1900s, and the only updates that they're having to these prisons is just CCTV cameras. They're not having no refurbishments done whatsoever for the prisoners. And with this being said, this HMP Wakefield is no joke for a woman to go to, as there's people in there that are serving life sentences and have done stuff to their kids that have no limits or levels to anything whatsoever. So it's only right that we hear of the stories that we do about Monster Mansion, and it's called Monster Mansion because there's a load of monster women in there. And just to think that, as a woman, that you could bring, life onto this earth and actually hurt and subject your child to harm is absolutely fucking wild, and it's why they call it HMP Monster Mansions, which is known as Wakefield. Now, being a prison officer, you know, I could only imagine for them to what it's like as a job, obviously, and it is obviously dangerous as everyone inside a prison has homemade razor blade knives. Every single prisoner has a blade inside of jail. It's the first thing you do when you get into your cell, and the problem is with these razor blades is that they're easily broken down to assess the blades, and that's how people are able to make their homemade razor blades from it. So once they crack down on prisoners being able to do that, then that might stop, the amount of attacks that happen inside the prisons. But no matter what, when a prisoner has a load of times on their hands, the things that I've seen man come up and make with knives, homemade shanks, whatever you want to call it, is mad. Even with a long piece of nail, I've seen someone make a shank out of. So any and everything inside a prison is literally, a potential object of being something to do someone's life with. Now, this prison officer was very lucky, as inside a prison, it's just as dangerous, I would say, for a prison officer with the prisoners, as you're outnumbered. And with the situation here that had taken place, obviously by the time when the screw has pressed his red button, or they've pressed their red button on that landing, when that shit's going down, they have to wait for other screws to come off other landings to run to them. And a lot of prisons are understaffed, and if you look at HMP Wakefield Monster Mansion, it's the same fucking problem. And the thing why it's a problem with them being understaffed is because not all prisons are ran by the government. The government pay these private prisons to facilitate, prisoners. So really, it's the private companies, corporations, that should be using the funding to be getting staff in. Because if you have 2 screws to 400 to 300 inmates, males or females, you're outnumbered, and it doesn't matter if you have a response team 10-15 minutes. By the time when a response team gets to where that situation is going down, your life is in danger. And by the time when you get medical treatment, just like for a screw and a prisoner, it's the same thing. You have to wait for medical assistance to come from the medical bit, or you have to wait for an ambulance to come inside of the prison. And by the time when they actually get to see to you, it's possibly life or death. And that's the realness to this situation, though. But this here is one of those things that will continue to happen, just like with the majority of prisons. And it's just something that the prisons have to crack down on in order to stop the slashings. But you're never going to be able to stop the slashings, because like I say, anything inside a prison is a target for being made as a weapon, though. Now, I have dropped a video on YouTube on how to make a prison razor blade shank, so do go and have a look. I'm sure it's about 15 to 20 videos down, and I show you exactly how we make it inside of prison, and it's just that easy. Now, with this being said, there will be an update to with this lifer that had done this situation. They're not just gonna let it slide, and my man's had half of his face hanging off, and there's no way, impossible, that she's not gonna catch another either GBH charge or an attempted murder charge. But like I said, she's serving a life sentence, and all it's gonna do to affect her is just pushing back her chance of getting released early, or possibly not getting released, though, because once she serves that sentence and they give her another sentence and it doesn't run concurrent with the one that she's doing, she might have to finish that life sentence that she's doing and then carry on with that other one. So really, she's probably just fucked herself from getting out of prison, period. But there could be a mental health issue to this. We don't know. They haven't said what the reasons was behind it or whatnot, so we'll just have to wait and find out and see. But I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Do drop your comments and your thoughts onto the situation with the prison officer having their half a face being taken off. Mad thing. And let me know if you as a female has gone ever to HMP, Wakefield, or Holloway and share your experience and stories in the comments. I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Do keep staying safe, people, and keep staying free, and I'll catch you on the next one.